Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. It's Wednesday, August 8th. This is the demonstration and question and answer session. My name's Scott Olson. I'll be trying to assist in the questions panel. I'm the Director of Marketing at Trade Ideas. Presenting today is Barry Einerson. He is our forum, our trader chat room moderator. Also attending and helping out today will be Jamie Hodge, our Director of Education. If you have any questions, please type them into the questions panel. The audience is muted. This session is being recorded, so you will get a link to that within a day or so following that. Without any further ado, Barry, why don't you go ahead and get started today?
All right. Well, thank you very much, Scott. Hello, everyone. If you were expecting Brad and Dan, well, they got pulled away kind of suddenly for a meeting, so they asked myself to actually do the demo question and answer session for today. And Jamie Hodge is going to be doing the webinar tonight. He's our Director of Education. So, but before we get going, I just have to bring up this screen just to see the sort of the legal disclaimer. You know, we are not a trading service. We're not a brokerage. We don't make trading recommendations. We don't advise you on what to buy or sell. We basically give you trade ideas, and that's what we're really good at doing. What I'm going to do, Dan actually thought that what I should do is I'm going to go jump right to the agenda. You know, I am the moderator of the trading room, and Dan thought that maybe it would be a good idea for people to maybe understand how I even got to be the moderator of the Trade Ideas trading room, and sort of briefly, I want to just go over my trading career. So we have to go back to the mid-1990s. I'm maybe a little bit older than a lot of you guys, but I'm living in Vancouver, and I'm in Boston right now, but I'll be back in Vancouver next week, actually. In Vancouver, and anybody knows about the Vancouver Stock Exchange. It was the wild and woolly exchange, stock promoters running up and down Vancouver streets trying to get us to buy penny stock garbage and all. But in the middle of the 1990s, something happened, and that's something that was called BRIEX. For those of you who are older and remember BRIEX, you know what the story was, but for those who don't, BRIEX basically was a gold mining company, and they found a large deposit of gold in Borneo. And not only was it a big deposit, but the assays, the value, the grams per ton was astonishing. And for about, I think, almost 2 years, they basically hoodwinked the entire investment community. Investment bankers would send their mining experts all into the middle of Borneo, checking it out, making sure it was good, coming back with glowing reports. This stock went from, I think, the 30 cents to $300. And it was all so rosy. All these little penny stocks in Vancouver were rising. Gold stocks were rising along with BRIEX. And then, boom, the whole thing was a fraud. 2 years of this, and it was a fraud. Basically, what they were doing is they were taking their samples, and afterwards it was called the salt shack, not the Shake Shack, but the salt shack. And they were taking the samples, and literally they were putting little flakes of gold in the samples, mixing it in, and then sending it off to the independent assayer to do the assay to determine how much gold was in them. And you know, the amazing thing was that nobody caught on for almost 2 years. And then, of course, once that caught on, all the mining stocks in Vancouver, they collapsed, and I was out in the mining business. So then the tech bubble was just kind of, it hadn't burst yet, and I was getting involved in that, and I did okay, but then it burst. So there I'm sitting, I guess it's early 2000, wondering, I really love being in the stock market, but I hate going through this boom and bust cycle. What am I going to do to make a living in this? And I had a friend of mine say, well, why don't you look at day trading? Have you ever considered it? And I'd heard of day trading, but I didn't really know what it was all about. At that time, I didn't even have an online brokerage account. But he said, well, all you do is you just look at a chart, and it's got some candles on it, and you just figure out where the support and resistance is, and you sell, buy or sell based on that. So I thought, well, that seems pretty easy. Obviously, not that easy. It's not that simple, but it really piqued my interest, and so I started reading about day trading and studying some candlestick books, and got pretty good at reading charts, and was able to make a pretty good living doing this. But I really was, I felt I was still kind of floundering because, you could go to websites and they would show you what the top movers were and the gainers and the losers and the top volume players. But I just really didn't feel like I knew what I was going to really be doing every single trading day. I felt it was more, not luck, but just kind of hit or miss. And then in 2010, that's 5 years ago, I discovered trade ideas. I was in a trading room and somebody was talking about trade ideas, and I didn't know what the heck they were talking about, but I decided to Google it, and I came on this website, and I looked at it for a while, and I thought, well, this is really, really interesting, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be for me. And after about a week of using it, I think in the demo, I decided to absolutely take it. This basically shone a light for me on how to look at the market. It was allowing me to filter out all the noise that I'd been seeing previously. I could kind of concentrate on the stocks that were moving that day at normal volume and all that good stuff. And so I just hopped on it like full speed. And it's funny though. I mean, I took the 1 hour training session with Jamie. Does a fantastic job. Anybody, I know we have people in this room or listening to this webinar right now who are already Trade Ideas subscribers. But if you're not, rest assured that you're going to get a great one-on-one free 1 hour training session with Jamie. However, it's like anything else. You can have a great training session, and then the next day you turn on your computer and go, now what? And so I always thought that the one thing Trade Ideas was missing was a trading room for Trade Ideas subscribers and maybe people who wanted to learn about Trade Ideas. And I know I pestered Dan and Brad for a little while, probably about a year and a half, and saying, you guys should have a trading room for Trade Ideas subscribers. And eventually, I think Dan just capitulated. This is about 2.5 years ago, maybe a little less. And he said, okay, here you go. Here's a trading room, and you can moderate it. And I can't lie to you. It was a tough experience at the very beginning, and we had very few people in the room. But it started to grow bit by bit. But the people that we had in the room were really, really good. There were some really good traders. We had some strategies that we'd swap back and forth. So you just didn't feel alone out there. And now I'm going to jumpstart or fast forward to where we are now. And I should also say that when I started in 2010 with Trade Ideas, the program was really good based on what I'd seen before. The things I was using before was like a Cadillac, but today Trade Ideas is like a Ferrari compared to what it was in 2010. I mean, they've added so many things. Just the presentation is so much better. Plus, if you've been around the last little while, we've added charts. The odds maker is a lot more robust. There's just a lot happening with Trade Ideas now, and I'm going to go over. You can see on the monitor here the grid. I'm going to go over very briefly what this grid is all about, and this to me is what is going to take Trade Ideas to another level. So there I am. Or there we are now with a trading room, and as I say, if you're new to Trade Ideas, and you don't have to feel like you're alone. Day trading can be an extremely lonely experience. Okay, it can be you can sit in front of your monitor for 7 hours a day, staring at charts all day long, and some people can do that all by themselves, and more power to them if they can. I just was the type of person, though, I just liked the interaction, and I think we've got a fantastic group in our room right now. Believe me, it is not all about me. I know what I do. I'm not on a microphone. I do post my trades as best I can. When I say that, I mean I can see some of the things that are coming on my alerts. If I can, I will say, worth watching this. This is interesting. And then if I take the trade, I certainly post it as quickly as I can, and I certainly post when I exit. And at the end of the day, I do a recap video every day that outlines the trades that I took, and I try to explain what the strategies were. So again, you don't have to feel like you're alone. If you get the product, you don't have to worry that, okay, now I've paid all this, I paid some money for this, and now what? So I really encourage you to come into the room. The room is not what I call. It's not. This is an example of what the room is all about. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles. I think that we might be doing something later on, but I think that Right now, it serves our purpose, and you can just see. I mean, here's well, this is not a link to a strategy, but I think, you know, here's somebody. This is a great trader, Bompera, in our room. He shares strategies all the time, and we've got other guys in the room who are just sharing strategies, and we really just try to help each other trade. It's a difficult thing to do, you know, but you just don't have to feel like you're alone. So that is that's basically how I got started with Trade Ideas, and now I'm so glad to be with them and watching how this is all progressing. So now I just want to show you, for those who don't have, I'm just going to, hopefully this works. Okay, this works so far, and I just want to show you one of the things that those of you who have Trade Ideas, of course, know this. But if you don't have, if you're new to Trade Ideas and you're thinking, okay, well, how do we even start? I mean, I know that you can have all these strategies, perhaps, that you can put together. You can make these alert windows and top list windows. But, you know, how do I really start? So what Trade Ideas did is they created a channel bar for you, especially for people just starting out. And you know what? I'll bet you even some people who have had the program for a while, probably maybe they use this just exclusively. But you can see how they're all labeled. So if I click on the pre-market as an example, in the pre-market, and I usually get into the room around 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, and this is what we do. We take a look at the pre-market. We try to figure out what stocks we think are going to be really good to trade during the day. You know, sometimes, you know, you can look at stocks in the pre-market and think that they're going to be the ones, but sometimes they just don't pan out. But that's okay, because we have other alerts during the day that are probably going to give us some great trading setups. But this is an idea, though, that, you know, you take a look at the pre-market, and you know, it's a great way to start the day. So start your day. Now, once the day is started, you can go, say, to the surge channel, and these are showing, especially if you're a day trader, these are showing, you know, the high volume movers, the strongest of the highs, most interesting now, and all the various permutations and combinations that you can do with Trade Ideas. If you're not familiar, this is an alert window, and what this is obviously designated with this A. Basically what that does is that you're going to see stocks streaming all day long that meet the filter. And just to show you what I mean by this filter, very simple. You know, we're looking for stocks in the last 5 minutes at least 250% of volume. In the last minute, 500% of normal. The current volume, which is a great, I think it's almost a proprietary indicator for Trade Ideas. What it means is that, let's say a stock normally trades 100,000 shares by 10 o'clock. I want to see stocks that are trading 3 times that. Okay, if I put this in, if I put at least 3, then I'm going to see stocks that are trading at least 3 times what they would normally have traded by a certain period of the day. So again, if I use my example of 100,000 shares of if a stock normally trades 100,000 shares by 10 o'clock, that stock has to have traded at least 300,000 shares by 10 o'clock before it passes this filter. So you're starting to see some stocks that may be really gathering some momentum. And you know, this is the filter I use all the time. It's the most, in my opinion, the most powerful filter that Trade Ideas has. And so as we move on, you know, stocks trading at least 100,000 shares a day, and the stock is between $1 and $1,000. And this alert window is going to show me when a stock is making a new high for the day. Now, of course, you can change this any way you want. I can go in here and change the max to you know, $20 if I want. Very simply done. And now this would now be my window. So it's very, very flexible in what you can do with the alerts. You can basically can let your imagination almost run when you take a look at all the alerts and the filters that we have that you can choose from. The top list is a little bit different. What this is doing, it's basically giving us a list of stocks that are, first of all, it gets refreshed every 30 minutes. So, and you can sort on any one of these columns. So, for instance, on this particular one, we're looking at, say, most interesting now, and we're saying, okay, I want to sort on today's range. So this one is 600% of the normal range today. Okay, and this list will change could change every 30 seconds. I mean, MCore, if this all of a sudden starts trading 700%, then this is going to jump to the top of the list. So this is just a great list to have. I mean, this is an example of a list, of course, but you could have a list of stocks that are up the most for the day, down the most for the day, trading the most abnormally for the day, and you can just keep an eye on them, and you click on them, and you can basically see if there's anything interesting that is happening. If you're interested in the various sectors, we have a sector channel. If you're an option player, we have an option channel. And I'm going through these very quickly. I understand that because, I'm not trying to actually tell you what all these windows are doing, but I'm just trying to say that, you don't have to start from scratch. We have these channels that are built for you. And you see how this says updated? The guys are updating these all the time to make them even better. I mean, it's kind of a work in progress at the beginning of the year, and I think that it's getting better and better and better. You want to see a winners channel? These are the ones, biggest gainers in the month, in the year, since January, today. So it's very, very robust. But so if you start out with trade ideas, you don't have to worry about, geez, I don't know how to make any one of these strategies. You can just come here and you can just pick one that you want, and you can start from there. And then, of course, you can come into the trading room, and we'll certainly help you along. I think right now, I will now take a look at what I do, and I'm just going to show you my pre-screen, what I do in the morning. Pre-market actives. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to get rid of these. Just going to exit all of these, because now you're going to see what I do in the morning and how I use trade ideas to find some of these, some of the stocks that we might trade. And what I've done, here's the pre-market actives. Okay, let's get rid of this over here. Here we go. Okay, now I've actually frozen this. You see, there's a freeze it, but see, I've frozen this. And what that means is that I have frozen this right at 9:29, just before the market opens. But what I'm doing is I start monitoring. This is a list that I have of the stocks, and I have sorted it on the ones that are most up. You see, this was most up in the morning, 57% from yesterday's close. And so I've sorted it on what are the stocks that are most up from yesterday's close. I can go all the way down here and see the stocks that were down the most. Now, this list has changed, okay, and I don't want to get too involved, but I'm going to show you another list that I actually used, which I think you're going to really see why I do it. But I also want to show you what you can do too, and that is to color code these columns, because not only, I mean, this is green because they're up, okay, and I just have color coded down here this orange color because they're down below yesterday's close. But I can also take each one of these columns, volumes today, shares. So I want to see remember, this is pre-market, okay? I want to see stocks that are really trading a lot in the pre-market. I want my eye to really go to those stocks. I want my eye to see the ones that have low floats. So I can color code this. I want to see, this is StockTwit's relative activity. This means this is like 4,000. Normally this stock never gets talked about on StockTwits. This is up 4,000. This is talked over 4,000% what it normally does. This is a great column to have, the volume today percent column. What this is telling me is that already, remember now, this is the pre-market. This is already traded 204. This is traded 246% of what it normally trades over, say, a 30-day period. So this is a stock that I want to watch. I mean, look at this. I mean, I'm immediately, not only is it up the most, but it's also drawing my attention right to all these blue bar or blue outlines here, so that I can very easily focus in on the ones. I love to see the low floaters. I want to see the low floaters because if the stock is up, that means there's not a lot of stock out there, so this could have a really big run on it. Here's a column for the short floats, so short float percentage. So here I can actually take a look and see what the short float percentage. Again, if a stock is up in the morning and it's got a high short percentage, we could get a short squeeze going. So this is just a way in which I can quickly identify, and I can show I don't know if I can show you how to do it. You guys can email me, and I can easily show you all how to do this if you don't know how to do it right now. But it's basically the custom colors. I mean, it's all I've done is clicked on the icon, brought up the custom colors, and I've said anything greater than in this particular case, I think it's or less, less than 10,000 shares. in the float. I want to see. There, it's right there, less than 10,000 shares. So that's why I'm seeing this one. You see, this is at 12 million. I don't see it. But so I, you can of course make it any number you want. But that's what I do. So this is how I start. However, what we're really looking at now is this is the window that I'm really liking, especially right now while we have when we're right in the middle of earnings season. Now let me just I just got to find it. And just 1 second here. Just want to bring up the. Here we go. Okay. This is the pre-market actives up or down $1. Now this doesn't rely on how many shares have been traded. Now look at this one, Disney. Now Disney, I saw this right off the bat this morning. Now Disney, is obviously has been on a tear lately. And if I can bring up the, oops, what happened there? So maybe bring this up again. Okay, so this has been on a tear lately. And, I looked at this, and obviously this is an earnings play. I can tell by this little column here that the earnings were yesterday afternoon once the market closed. And I can tell that this is was an earnings play. Obviously, it was crushed because of earnings. I'm sure, but Disney is not going out of business. It had a tremendous run. If I can bring up just want to bring up a chart of Disney. Now, bear with me here. I'm just sort of trying to navigate this. Just a minute here. Just want to bring up a chart of Disney. Okay. And here are our new charts. So let me just go Disney. And this is why I was all over this one today. Because here's a chart of Disney. Now here's today's candle. Here's today's candle, but look at the trend from back here all the way up, a little bit of a blip down, but it's just been so high, and I think this was a high of a lifetime high, to be honest. So of course, so when I look at this, Disney's not going out of business, and I just thought this had to be something that I wanted to play as what I call a bounce play, and so this is what I did. This is a trade that I took today, and I'll just bring it up. Oops, let me just bring this up. So here is the Disney trade for me today, and this is why. So again, this is why I took the trade, because when I saw this, I saw, okay, this is a trend. Yes, it's been hammered today, but there are too many believers in Disney. So I thought this would have some kind of a bounce, and if I just go back a little bit, you're going to see. So here's where it closed yesterday. Here's where it opened, and I took the trade right here. I'm a big proponent of taking trades just over the whole number. So this is right here at $112. I took it, I think it's at 112.13. I sold some here at 112.81. I sold some more at 113.10. I always like to get into a trade where I make a little over $1 on the trade. And I sold, it's not listed here, but I sold at 113.41. And you can see how it collapsed at the end of the day. But you know what? I'm a day trader, so all I'm looking for is this action here. Little bit of a pullback, little bit of a pullback, and then on this candle, as it got over the whole number, I decided to take it. But it all got started by my being able to look at that at my up and down the most in the pre-market. So that's just something that and we're all looking at. I mean, in the trading room, we all have very similar styles, and of course, it's not just me who pointed out Disney, but I mean that was front and center for me. We had some other ones that we were looking at, but that to me was front and center because I just felt that people would want to get back into Disney. That it ain't going out of business. So I think maybe right now, Scott, I think maybe you probably should pop in here and let me just, I don't know if I can hear. I don't know if I'm doing this right, Scott. So if I pop up the first,
See, that's great. You could actually park it on page 6, though. First, just to review.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's great.
I'm new, guys. Bear with me.
Just to review what the new pricing is some of you may be aware, to coincide with the release of our charting beta, and also just because it's a long time coming, we've changed the monthly rate from $75 to $99 per month, and our annual rate has changed from $628 to $888 per year. It still includes everything, still includes all the data. This is going to include the charting. If you're already in a Trade Ideas subscriber at another rate, you're going to keep your previous rate for as long as you're a subscriber, as long as that's active. Our odds maker is a one-time lifetime license. So when you purchase the odds maker license, you always have it as long as you're a Trade Ideas client, whether you come or go. The odds maker is going to be something that's required for our upcoming AI channel. Some of you who've been to our previous webinars will remember seeing either Dan or Brad demonstrate that. That's going to be a channel that appears in the channel bar that contains strategies that are currently working in today's markets, and those will constantly be updated. I'm going to show you the product code after the question and answer session as a way of thanking you all for joining us. So over the next, however long the questions last, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 or longer, we're going to field questions for you from the questions panel. So we can go ahead and roll into that. Barry, let me see if I can see some from earlier.
Scott, are you able to hear me? Can I talk?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay. I just do want to go over the grid before
sure.
we
go ahead and review that.
questions,
Yeah.
because I think that is going to be probably the single most exciting thing that, well, I shouldn't say that. The charts have been fabulous. I mean, first of all, I should just a quick talk about the charts. Still in their infancy. I mean, when we click on when I right-click on a chart, you can see that we're adding some functionality. I have seen a preview of the next edition, and we'll be able to draw trend lines. We'll probably add some SMAs and things like that. Don't expect to see, RSI, stochastics, MACD, and all of that. These are, in my opinion, these charts are just they're going to be very clean. I find them very crisp and clean and easy to look at, and quite frankly, I'm loving them. I was a little skeptical at the beginning. I was wondering how they were going to appear, but I really think that they're wonderful. Now, what I want to show you though is, and I have to, let's see, I want to bring up a chart, SEMG, and I want to bring it up on a 15-minute. Okay, and this is going to show you something that I think is going to be really an interesting product, and it's called Grid. All right, and some of you guys who are in the room, I've been talking about this a little bit. And one of the things that we're doing in the room, one of the setups, and it's from one of our really good traders in the room, I think Real Deal, and he's come up with this. He hasn't come up with it, I mean, but he has been really teaching us this, what he's called is a red or green bar ignored pattern. And this is a great demo of it, okay? Basically what it's trying to tell us is that here's a stock that is starting down, or the trend is down. This is a 15-minute candle, and you see this little green candle here. You're thinking to yourself, I wonder, have the buyers taken over? All right, are they going to start driving this price up? No, they don't. The next candle is red. But what we're looking for is a stock that is a bit of a downtrend, and this green candle has to be totally engulfed by this candle right here. And then the next candle, if it's red, then you're basically saying to yourself, okay, this is just a continuation of the trend. In other words, ignore the green bar. Green bar ignored. The flip is, of course, a red bar ignored. If you had its stock going up, I don't know if there's an example here, but it doesn't really matter. What I'm trying to show you here, though, is that we are going to have a program I shouldn't say very soon. Hopefully by the end of the year, but I already have a little prototype of it that is working. That now we're going to be able to refer to previous candles, all right? Because now I can say, okay, I want to see this little pattern here. I want to see this. For that to happen, I have to tell the program, okay, I want to see this candle has to be less, the high of this has to be less than the high of that. The low of this has to be less than the low of this. And then I have to see this candle. I have to see this being below here, below this candle right here. And the trigger, the trigger for this would be to buy it right here. Okay, so you're taking a look at this and you're just saying, okay, if I see this pattern, right now we can't do it. Okay, so don't ask me for the strategy, but when we're able to develop this, this is the sort of pattern that we're going to be able to see. And you can add things to it. I mean, what I have right now is something maybe with a slightly longer trend down. But even this isn't bad. I mean, the trend is starting to come down. And you see this little pattern. You'll get a trigger right there, right when this red candle is breaking below. We can either pick the bottom of the base of this, or you can pick the bottom of the tail, okay? And it's up to you. I mean, this is how customizable the strategy will be. And then so you can take the trade right here, and then, you know, and look, obviously this worked out very well. There was another one kind of right here. It, you know, didn't work out quite as well, but you can see what we're going to be able to do with this grid program. And as I say, I have the prototype. I know it works. There were some doubting Thomases in the room saying that you can never do that, but you know, we are going to be able to do this, and it's more than just this. I mean, I'm just showing you this as an example because this is a pattern that is proving to be really successful for us in the room. So, but right now we're having to eyeball it. You know, we click on a chart and then we see this pattern. That's great, but what we want to be able to do is just have the system alert us to when this is actually happening. So that is going to be grid. I should just show you, just very quickly, if I can bring it up, the odds maker, because Scott did talk about the odds maker, and let me just let's see if I can find a, you know, I'm sorry, but I think I accidentally deleted it. I had an odds maker that I wanted to show for you, but I think I accidentally deleted it. Sorry, a rookie mistake. But let me just show. I mean, I'll take this one. I'll just take any pattern and approaching highs. Just want to get rid of this. Okay, so here's what the odds maker does, and I have no idea if this is going to be good or bad. I really don't. So this is really live. Here's a strategy. Does it work? I don't know. Let's see. We'll run the odds maker. I'm going to simulate the buy. And the odds maker is going through all the trades that could have happened based on this particular strategy that occurred in the last 60 days. And in a brief second. So what it's telling me right here, there were 180 trades, 57% of them were winners. It's not great right now because what the odds maker does, this is the equity curve, okay? So if you started with $50,000 at the end of the time period, you'd have, what is that, $53,000. But what the odds maker also does is it calculates, it also subtracts commissions and also slippage. So this is what I call the real world presentation of what would have happened if you had ran that particular pattern. Strategy. Now, again, unfortunately, I mean, I wasn't trying to demonstrate the odds maker in this particular webinar, but you've got optimizations that you can look at the time of day. Maybe there was a time of day that was better for this particular strategy. Was there a price maybe that was better for this strategy? Again, I'm running over this. I know that Jamie tonight, he's an odds maker expert, and he's really going to get into the odds maker probably in a lot more detail than I am. But the odds maker is a fabulous tool, and it can take that strategy, and I could probably take it and optimize it, and probably turn it into a better strategy just with a few little tweaks here and there. But as Scott said, if you want the odds maker, or sorry, if you want I'm just going to bring up the channel bar again. The odds maker or the optimized strategies are going to be part of this channel right here. And in this channel, you will one of the channels is going to be the optimized strategies. And in there, you are going to find a whole bunch of strategies that have been basically optimized every day, so that is there a guarantee it's going to work today? No, but the odds are that when you back test it for over 60 days and it has been working over a 60-day period, hopefully it'll work for the next couple of days anyway. But that's the beauty of it. It'll be optimized every day. There'll be several channels, so there'll probably be some short strategies, some long strategies, some swing strategies, both on the long and short side, so there should be something for everybody. But as Scott said, if you want the odds maker, you're going to have to if you want the optimized channel, you're going to have to subscribe to the odds maker. All right, Scott. I think that is definitely the end of my part of the presentation. So if there are any questions, I can certainly answer them. I don't know if you've answered most of them, but you
Let's
probably.
take a look at the questions here. There's one earlier in there from Fernando. Is TI Pro useful for serious and complex options trading? And could you maybe give an estimate on how many of our users are frequent options traders?
Well, okay. The only way I can do that, of course, is in the trading room. We have people who are interested in options, but to be honest, I don't see a lot of options in our trading room. That doesn't mean, we have 150, 170 people in our trading room, and we have obviously a lot more clients than that. But within our trading room, I don't see a lot of people talking about options. But, again, one of the channels. One of the channels is the option. Sorry about that. Just trying to. Here it is. One of the channels is the option channels. Just got to find it. I've told the guys I think this should be in alphabetical order, and I know I'm probably Scott. Where is it? There it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
So there's the option channel. So this is what we do have if you want to trade options. Unusual's option volume is interesting because what it does is it basically compares what a stock's normal option volume would be in a day, and if you want to see stocks that are trading 2 or 3 or 400% of that, or 2 or 3, 4 times that, then that's how you could filter on this. But so you've got this option channel right here, but I can't say that we have a lot of people in our trading room that are actually option traders.
Thanks. We had some people who were running version 4 who were having login issues. Stuart mentioned that he was able to successfully get around what looked like a firewall issue by logging out of version 3 and then signing back into version 4. So that may help some of you until we have an addition of version 4 out with the advanced connection options. Earlier, Barry, when you were showing that your pre-market scan, Carl had a
Yes.
question about if that's how it's different than the gap up or gap down scanners in the pre-market channel.
Well, I mean, I've customized this, of course. I mean, the pre-market channel is it's sort of a default channel. They've put together some of the columns. To be honest, I haven't really looked at it the pre-market gappers in that channel that closely, but I'm sure that they probably don't have the float shares. They probably don't have the short float percentage. They may not have an earnings date. And that's the beauty of it. I mean, you can take that pre-market that channel and you can customize it to what you want, and then you can save it under a different name, and then that could be your channel that you use. Basically, when people start out with trade ideas, I mean, I would encourage them to use the channels. The channel bars and certainly use the pre-market channel. That'll probably get you really started. But I think as you get more used to trade ideas, you'll probably want to start customizing it a little bit more. I mean, I forgot to talk about this one. The consecutive days down channel. Another interesting trade idea that the real deal in our trading room. He talked about a pro gap. And a pro gap is a stock that is, say, down, and what I've said is, say, at least 3 days in a row, but then it's gapping up today. So, this is what I've done. I've been able to take this channel, or this column, and take a look at both stocks that have been down multiple days in a row, but now today we're gapping up, and he calls that a pro gap scan. And so there's a whole bunch of different things that you can do. And probably at the beginning, it's best just to start out with the default version, get your feet wet with it, get comfortable with it, and then after that, you can start to get a little creative. I mean, this is not, believe me, this is not the be-all and the end-all. I mean, I'm sure people have more columns that they like to look at, but this is just my personal preference.
Cool. Hey, Barry, did you hear anything about them adding weekly charts? I'm sure there's more stuff coming. I just don't know
Yeah, I
details
mean,
on that.
right now when you look at our charts, we have one through the daily, and I know they're going to be adding weekly, and I want that too, because when I'm doing my video recap, sometimes I want to be able to show some resistance a little bit further out, and I need a weekly chart for that. So I don't have it right now, but for sure they're going to be adding that. That's I'm talking with Dave Mabe, who is one of the who actually probably is more involved in creating all the different aspects of the charts right now. He says that they're definitely going to be adding that. You know what? There is one thing I did want to show people because it's a question that I get a lot, and let me just show you. Okay, this is good. I think this is good anyway. Basic high, low from the close. Okay, so this is just a real simple. Okay, I think maybe what I want to do is back this out and put this right here. Okay. It's just a very simple. I mean, if I look at the configuration, here's the summary. I'm looking for new highs, new lows. Never mind this right now so much, but stocks between 2 and 80. Current volume is at least 1.5, 400,000 shares traded, at least 3% up or 3% down from the close. So just a very simple alert window. It's not that you check every trade, obviously, but for instance, if I saw a sea of red here, and all of a sudden one stock was green, I might say to myself, well, okay, interesting. The SPY is obviously going down, but this guy is something interesting is happening with this. So maybe I should click on the chart and see what's up. But what I want to show you is this, because some people say, well, you know what, I want to do a history of what happened, but I also want to see, I don't want to see the same symbol over and over and over again. Because if I did a history right now of today, you're going to see, you see, you should at least, you should see multiple occurrences. Oh, you know what I've done? See, I should never, yeah, okay. Well, I jumped the gun. What I had done before, let me do this. Okay, I'm going to go back. Well, you know what? I sort of ruined this because if I go back to real time, what I wanted to show you was this, and maybe you can just, hopefully you can understand. Generally, when you do the history, you're going to see the same stock over and over again if it had been triggered. The problem is that I had already put in my view mode well, I have to go back now. I had put in my view mode Okay, let's go back to history in real time. I had put in my view mode, and this is something you can do, and I'm sorry I kind of botched this one. I had already put don't repeat. I had actually checked this don't repeat for all the day, so I didn't want to see repeat symbols over and over again. So in other words, if FSLR was going up or down, I didn't want to see it every tick that had happened. So that's why I can put don't repeat for, and I can put either for 5 minutes, don't repeat for the day, and that's what I'd already done. But if you hadn't done that and you wanted to see all the stuff, and you wanted to see a history of the stocks, but you didn't want to see it repeated over and over again, then what you can do is you can go into the view mode. You can go don't repeat for, and you know what, Scott? This is not working the way I want it to work. So, okay, you go in. I'm sorry. You go into the group and sort by. Okay. And then you sort by symbol. And then when you sort by symbol, and then you go into history and say, give me the history for today. Actually, this might work. Please work there. You see what happened? You see how there were many at the very beginning, you saw many occurrences of FSLR? Right now, you will not. And I can, in fact, if I just do I can sort, and you can see right now, I only see the stock once. So I'm sorry I kind of botched that a little bit, but hopefully you get the idea that you can do that. I only see the stock once. If I had not done it like that, I may have seen AAC many, many times. ARIA, I may have seen many, many times. And so, you just don't want to, if you don't want to see that, you just want to see the stock the first time that it occurred, and it can just click on the time and see, when the stocks actually occurred in this particular window or any window you've got. So, sorry, I kind of botched that, but hopefully you get the idea.
Yeah, thank you. I had a question from Fernanda. Well, actually, first, do you know a Fusion trading platform? Do you know if we symbol linked to that just fine? I'm
Well,
assuming
I,
probably.
I I only know it in that I've seen the question asked many times before, and I know that Brad has answered the question several times, and it appears that there is a way. Personally, I don't know exactly how it's done, but Brad
So
certainly does. So if he fired an email off to info@trade-ideas and how do you link to Fusion, Brad will certainly answer
yeah,
that.
Alexi, so go ahead and email info@tradeIdeas.com if you have any difficulty getting that set up, but it should be under the external linking window functionality. We got a question from Fernando about how you populate your symbol list and how you use the list. If you could maybe speak to that for a moment.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, I didn't have. Let's see if I have this up right here. My Okay. Now, I have to apologize because yesterday in Boston we had a huge downpour and it knocked out one of my monitors. Oh, well, here it is. Okay. So I had to do some scrambling today. I was down to one, I had only one monitor. But typically what I do is I will create a best 10 list also, and I didn't use it today because I just didn't have enough space. And what I do is I will do a scan after the market closes today, and I do a scan. And what I want to do is I want to find what I will consider the best 10 stocks to look for tomorrow. And so what I do is you can go to, let's see if this works. I can go to Tools and go to Symbol Lists. And you can see here are all the symbol lists that I have, and one of them, hopefully, is called Best 10. And so, I mean, if I was doing this from scratch, I would just go create. I don't want to do this right now from scratch, but if I did this from scratch, I would just create a new list. I would give it a name, okay, and say I was doing this from scratch. I could call it Best 10, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to cancel out. So let's pretend that I created this and it's called Best 10, and then I click on it and edit the list. And so every day I now put in my new stocks that I want to follow that I call my best 10 list. And without getting into it, I mean, I did a webinar on this a couple of years ago, I think, on how I do my evening scans, and I could probably do another one sometime later. But I'm basically looking for stocks that traded, I think, 500,000 shares. We're up at least 5% or down 5%. And I'm going to get a list of those stocks. And then I go through the charts and check to see the daily and the weekly, just check to see what sort of resistance that there might be. And I pare that list down to, the best 10. Obviously, I have 11 here. I call it the best 10. Some days it could be 8, some days it could be 15. And so then I put it into this particular window, configure, and all it is all I really do is I want to make sure at least the stock has traded 100,000 shares. And then in my symbol list, right here, I just have only the following list, my best 10 list, and that's basically it. So every day, obviously, it's going to be a different best 10 list for me. So that's how I use the symbol list, but of course, you can use the symbol list any way you want. If you just wanted to follow, the top tier type stocks, the Apples, the Googles, the Amazons, whatever, Facebook, I mean, if you consider that a top tier, whatever, you can create a symbol list like that and then put it in either a top list window or an alert window and just monitor that particular symbol list all day long.
Great.
Hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, we had a question from Debbie Clowney. Have you heard anything about stability problems with interactive brokers or compatibility problems lately? I know you don't use them, so I'm not sure.
Interactive brokers, I know that it's been a bit of a bear for people to connect with the external link. I'm sure, I guess that's what people you're talking about is external linking. And I know that Brad has answered the question many times. I know there's some tricks. I don't know what the latest ones are, but Debbie, I don't know, Deborah, I don't know if you have actually asked Brad this. I seem to remember your name anyway in the info at Trade Ideas, and maybe asking that before, but I know some people are able to do it, and I suppose I know it has something to do with the disabling the UAL, things like that. But I don't have first-hand experience with it. I think I know it can be done, but there are some little tricks that you have to do to get it.
Might be something since Brad's traveling and he's usually up on that kind of stuff since he hears about it. Dave Mabe might know too. So if you could email info@TradeIdeas and we'll catch up to that as soon as Brad's back in town.
I do know that they're working on with interactive down the road to create an auto, like a robot like they have with Lightspeed, and so you'll be able to auto trade using IB, and obviously if that happens, and the external linking will be obviously it'll be fixed. You will be definitely able to link IB once that robot gets done. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it's another thing on their plate.
Let's see if anyone has any more questions. Let's see. Do you have symbol lists created that we can use? For example, SP500 and Energy. Well, Boris, there's already a bunch of default ones in there that might suit that.
Yeah,
like there's one for the S&P 500 right there. There might be some sector lists as well. It's fairly trivial to create your own symbol list in addition to that. You can use that as a watch list.
Yeah, you see what I'm doing here? These are all, let me just see, like here are all the symbol lists that actually Trade Ideas has created, but let me just go here, sectors. Here are the sectors. So there are a lot of symbol lists that Trade Ideas has already created for you. And just to show you, I know I may have done that kind of quickly, so let me just cancel. And so if you got to your symbol list, you went to Add Existing List, and then, let me just collapse that. So if you go to the plus sign right here on the sectors and expand that, you're going to see a lot of symbol lists that we have already created. I mean, you can even, click on this plus sign, and you're going to see, and this plus sign, you get my drift. I mean, there's layers within layers within layers. So you can drill down to, a symbol list of just electronic and precision equipment repair and maintenance, commercial, as fine-tuned as you want it to be. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, it's pretty good. If no one has any other questions, we'll circle back to this in just a moment. From Inside eSignal. Well, Leon, the benefit of using Trade Ideas from Inside eSignal is the bundled price for you would cost less. Trade Ideas Inside eSignal has all the new functionality of our current version, and it's with the exception of charts, but eSignal has all the charting you'd need. And you can get Trade Ideas for just $49 a month inside eSignal there. Well, Barry, do you use any indicator alerts like MACD or stochastics?
Personally, I don't. My charts are, if I brought up, let's see if I can just bring up a chart here. Okay, find a chart. This is a chart. The only thing I may put on a chart is maybe on a daily chart I may put on the 200-day moving average, but otherwise I just look at the volume and the price movement. That's it. Look, I'm not trying to say to anybody that you shouldn't use MACD, stochastics, RSI. If it works for you, great, but I don't. I don't. I used to. Look, when I first started trading, I had my charts look like a bunch of spaghetti strands all over the place. But I just got too confused by it. And more power to people that can mark up a chart and figure out what they all mean. More power to them. But this for me. This is why, when I saw what Trade Ideas was doing and how clean the charts looked, so that's all I need. Now I do have eSignal. I do have that also. But I mean but I use it in tandem with the Trade Ideas charts.
Yeah, we have a question from Cian. If he signs up for Trade Ideas, can he get help getting familiar with the system, videos, personal training? Yeah, there's the hour power of one-on-one training is included with all the subscriptions. And of course, you have access to our support staff with chat or email, phone, and also in addition to the training, we do have videos, and there's always new recordings of our webinars available as well.
And I would definitely encourage anybody new to come into the trading room. You don't have to post. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to. You literally don't have to do anything. You can just watch to see how we trade all day long. And You know, for me, I mean, listen, I wish I'd had that trading room when I first started at Trade Ideas. When I first got the program 5 years ago, it would have made my life a lot easier. But I mean, I encourage you just to come into the room, and it's not, again, it's not just about me. We've got some great traders in the room.
Yeah, and that's it.
Very happy to share strategies. I mean, this is the beauty of the room. We're very supportive of each other. It's a great support group.
And that's located at forums.tradeideas.com. So Fernando's got another question. He says the symbol list is the same as a watch list, and that's essentially, so no need to scan it again and set alerts and filters for it because you developed the list by scanning a larger data set in the first place, correct? He's just trying to clarify that. You can probably find that question in the question panel as well.
Well, no. I mean, I have to update. For instance, that best 10 list is going to change every single day because the way I do my scanning. I mean, I don't know what stocks are going to be up and down 5% and have traded 500,000 shares, etc. And then I have to. You know, there could be 80 stocks like that. I have to go through each one of those one by one and pare it down to 10 stocks, and that's going to change every single day.
Yeah, thanks, Cian. Cian was just praising the your trading room. It's great. So, Barry, can you, since we're kind of rolling in on the end of the hour here, can you pull up slide 8? And I also want to direct everyone to look in their GoToWebinar interface for a handout in the handout panel, and that's going to have the same thing that we're going to show you here. And on slide 8, we'll show you the subscription special code. So there's that code is good until end of business on Friday. And that's QAWEBA5, all caps for the letters, and that gives you 50 off your first month, 150 off your first year, or 300 off of the lifetime odds maker license. So that can make those new rates more affordable. Also, we have a new package special. It's a combination that includes a full year of trade ideas, the lifetime odds maker, and a custom strategy for only $1,088. If you go to the next slide, there, Barry, on slide 9, I have the URL highlighted, and that's a bit.ly link, bit.ly/save900. If you just enter that into your browser or click on it from the handout, you'll get taken to a page that has a click-through to get this package. We were running an $8.99 package before our price changes, and this is essentially the same package at the new rates. It saves over $900 for your year, essentially getting you the odds maker, the year, and a custom strategy. So it's a really strong package. It's probably the best way for you to get into trade ideas in advance of the AI channel launch. If you haven't done so, if you are currently a subscriber and want to switch to this, just go ahead and purchase this package and then send us an email letting us know that you did the upgrade so we can double check your account to make sure everything's going to bill correctly. Again, if you have any questions at all, contact us at info@tradeideas.com. If you download that PDF from your handouts panel, you can use that to purchase using the codes or that combo package link. Follow us on Facebook. We're Trade Ideas Pro on Facebook. We're at Trade Ideas 1 and at Trade Ideas on Twitter. Bob, the AI channel will probably launch at the end of August or first week or two of September. It's going to be coming up soon. We'll have some more on that as the dates get closer. Hopefully within 2 weeks we'll actually have a date for you. Thanks, everyone. This is recorded, so keep an eye on our playlist. For our webinar playlist, there won't be an independent email about with the actual link from the QA session. There will be from tonight's webinar, though, for the Trade of the Week webinar. Again, thanks everyone. Thank you, Barry. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Scott.
Email.
We'll see you guys in the trading room tomorrow.
Yeah. Any questions? Email us info@tradeideas.com.